Good afternoon. Of course, you know that all this just to go to the police department. It's none of that. I need another tub, please. Good morning, everybody. I want to show you something here. Identified. They're special. It's because I get to carry my marijuana in here, and I've had to go through a variety of retrainings with them, so we get that extra special love. So you can see this. I have a legal authority to carry this into the building. He is home. You see that? I have a legal authority to carry this into the building. That phone over there is what you're gonna pick up. Huh? No, I'm not. Notice the background. The audio and the video are going to get disconnected here for a moment. We don't tolerate our employees bossing us around. See how the police officer just grabbed his ID right out of the bag? This is, the audio and the video are not lined up. We've got to work on that today. Okay, so you guys see the video is off, the audio is not lined up here.
Right now, I'm going to go back in there and get the rest of my property. Let's go. He came out the door, he says there's no camera here, let's go. Let's go. You're being out, you fucking Oompa Loompa. Sir, my ID back.
He's actually talking to the lady at this point, but the video again.
It's cool, you're being recorded, you dumb fat fuck. Give me my fucking phone and I'll leave.
come in here, you go to jail.
You shut the fuck up.
My property's inside.
Fuck you ignorant fucktard. You Oompa Loompa. Give me my ID and give it to me right now, or I will charge you with theft. Detective, you better fix your nose. This set him up is fucked up.
Excuse me, turn it off or you go to jail. Sign saying no recording.
Sorry, we're gonna let the video catch up so you can see how quickly. Turn it off. You're gonna go to jail. There's a sign. Boom. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends and lovers, children of all ages. My name is Brian Loma, and on Wednesday, August 7th, I was arrested while videotaping at a police department. Police officers and security personnel who have a history of behaving badly. And the reason that this is a concern for you and for me and everybody else is that our world is getting a little bit more crazier. And yes, let's answer that question. Sometime between 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, real sovereign citizen. Oh, look, Eric Brandt show is here. The Eric Brandt was home between 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning. This morning, he was taken home by real sovereign citizens, and we're real grateful for that. I want to show you something that I got email, basically right as I was being released, I guess. Frank Sturgill is a friend of ours, and he did a Quora request, and I want you guys to look at this. This is no video recording in public safety lobbies. Okay? And this is Friday, June 28th, 2019 at 10:39 in the morning. From Barbara A. Archer, DPD, Deputy Chief. Please share this with your personnel. Laminated signs will be available for you at tomorrow's crime strategy briefing. There have been recent incidences involving persons entering police facilities and wanting to video record the lobby and persons in it. Then there's a whole bunch of redacted information that may or may not be legal, but is definitely going to become available as soon as I have a lawyer. Okay? Arrest should be a last resort. Officers contacting persons violating the order will advise the individuals they are in violation of the posted order and give them an opportunity to put away their recording device or leave the building. CRS 18-9-117 parentheses 1 unlawful conduct on a public property specifically addresses orders given by persons who have power of control, management, or supervision of a public building to limit, prohibit, or restrict activities or conduct from the property. Violation of this is a Class 2 misdemeanor. Please refer to the First Amendment Training Bulletin in Power DMS for other considerations when interacting with individuals. Ladies and gentlemen, videotaping the police is a free speech protected activity. It is, as we are celebrating or mourning, remembering is probably a better word, 5 years after Ferguson, after Michael Brown, after Hands Up, Don't Shoot, after chokeholds for selling loose cigarettes. On Wednesday, August 7th, 2019, I was put in a chokehold for having a video camera on a police officer who was acting in a violent and aggressive manner. Fortunately, I did not have to spend an incarcerated time in jail, but that was because of sensible police officers with level-headed thinking, the lack of a criminal record, and a really, really awesome guy who advocated on my behalf named Eric Brandt. I want to talk about this unlawful conduct on public property. 18-9-117. It is unlawful for any person to enter or remain in any public building or on any public property, or to conduct himself or herself in or on the same in violation of any order, rule, or regulation concerning any manner prescribed in this subsection, limiting or prohibiting the use of activities or conduct in such public building or on such public property issued by any officer or agency having the power of control, management, or supervision of the building or property, in addition to any authority granted by any other law. Each such officer or agency may adopt such orders, rules, or regulations as are reasonably necessary for the administration, protection, and maintenance of such public buildings and property. Specifically, orders, rules, and regulations upon the following matters: preservation of property, vegetation, wildlife, signs, markers, statues, buildings and grounds, and other structures, and any subject of scientific, historical, or scenic interest. Restriction or limitation of the use of such public buildings or property as to time, manner, or permitted activities. Prohibition of activities or conduct within public buildings or on public property which may be reasonably expected to sustainably interfere with the use and enjoyment of such places by others, or which may constitute a general nuisance, or which may interfere with, impair, or disrupt a funeral or funeral processes. Necessary sanitation, health, and safety measures consistent with Section 25-13-113 CRS. Camping and picnicking, public meetings and assemblage, and other individual or group usages, including the place, time, and manner in which such activities may be permitted. Use of all vehicles as to a place, time, manner of use, control and limitation of fires, including but not limited to the prohibition, restriction, or ban on fires or other regulation of fire. No conviction may be obtained under this section unless such notice of such limitations or prohibitions is prominently posted at all public entrances to such building or property, or unless such notice is actually first given to the person by the officer or agency, including any agent thereof, or by any law enforcement officer having jurisdiction or authority to enforce this section. Basically, Juice Man, that is exactly correct. Just obey. Right? So, except as otherwise provided in paragraphs B and C of this subsection 3, any person who violates subsection 1 of this section is guilty of a class 3 misdemeanor. Any person who violates any order, rule, or regulation adopted pursuant to paragraph G of subsection 1 is guilty of a class 2 misdemeanor and shall be assessed a fine of not less than $250 and not greater than $1,000. These fines imposed, I don't care about whose birthdays there are, huh? Any person who violates any order adopted pursuant to paragraph C, subjecting funerals or funeral processions, is guilty of a misdemeanor. So you can't protest funeral processions. For example, of police who kill people, right? That would be a violation of this rule. To, in a free speech manner, conduct yourself on public property, protesting police officers who died while in a shootout that was unjustly started. Let's just give Let's give it some thought. So I was arrested for violating this. I had no intention of being arrested yesterday for violating this. But it's interesting. And let's look at why it's interesting. June 6th, 2019. This is the day that all the election announcements were solidified. June 5th was election day. June 6th is the day after, the morning after the election. Mayor Michael Hancock is elected to a third term in office as mayor. Chief Michael Pazin is assured his position and his security in office. And the truth is that I was working for Jamie Gillis, and I had directly spoken to Jamie Gillis about Paul Pazin and why he should remain the sheriff, Denver police chief, I mean. So I'm not Modern Automotive. Let's look at this here for a second. I added a criminal charge. Well, here's the beautiful thing. You cannot contest a law and its constitutionality unless you are in a method to actually contest it. I'm in a method to contest it. And I'm going to tell you that I was arrested during Black Lives Matter for stopping cars from running over people during a die-in in the heart of downtown Denver, the capital city of the state of Colorado, a place that had been experiencing mass quantities of police brutality. Occupy Denver had at one point a countdown on their Facebook page how many days it had been since Denver police had killed somebody. That's the kind of time frame that we were in when I was arrested for stopping a car from running over somebody. It's the only criminal activity I have in the state of Colorado. I've been here 8 years. Okay? So I'm not a criminal. I'm not a crazy person. But I know the chief of police. I know the chief of police. I've had beverages with him. I've sat on this day, on this very day that this training bulletin, First Amendment and free speech went out. Karen Sidaro was arrested for heckling the mayor at his inauguration. Okay? So obviously, the need to train everybody in the department about free speech is an issue when you're illegally arresting people for being in a public zone heckling the mayor during his oath of office. During the course of your duties as police officers, you may encounter individuals who are attempting to film you or who may insult you in an attempt to provoke a response from you. When that happens, remember that criticism, insults, profanity, obscene gestures, and disparaging comments by themselves are protected by the First Amendment. Patriots unite. I will be glad to have some of that Durban poison. Hook a brother up. Seriously, folks. During the course of your actions, of your duties, you're going to encounter people who are attempting to film you. They may swear at you, they may cuss at you, they may try to provoke you. Remember that the criticisms, insults, profanity, it's all First Amendment free speech. The First Amendment protects a significant amount of verbal criticism directed at police officers. Remember that all citizens have a right to record police officers in public places. Let's get this correct. The First Amendment protects a significant amount of verbal criticism directed at police officers. Remember that all citizens have the right to record police officers in public places. However, the citizen does not have a right to interfere with an officer's ability to perform his or her job, and reasonable parameters may be placed to ensure that the citizen's recording is not interfering with your ability to perform your job. I was standing in the foyer of a lobby and outside because while inside the lobby, I watched a police officer reach into a bucket and grab private property without starting an official Tory stop investigation. It was at a weapons checkpoint where a private employee of HSS Security, a contractor to the state and the city and county governments, no longer a private employee, right? They're now a public employee because they're contracted to the government, whose job it is to check for weapons entering a public building, didn't like the personal attitudes of people entering the building, who said, "It's not your job to ask me why I'm here or what my business is." And in fact, one of those people may have said, "I'm surprised you still have a job. You have a bad attitude." So, let's talk about what we cannot do. We cannot touch officers. We cannot assault police officers. We know that. That's obvious. We cannot gain access to a restricted area or building. We cannot disobey a lawful order to maintain a reasonable distance so that officers can do their job. We cannot directly threaten the life of an officer. And we cannot, in a public building, we cannot interfere with the staff's ability to perform their jobs, and we cannot block entrances and exits. Joe, I got that message and was damn out as well. No conduct of speech by itself. The content of speech by itself may not be the basis of citation or arrest unless it is a physical threat. You know what I didn't remember going down until I was reminded, HP 111, that I was placed in a chokehold. I forgot all about the chokehold until I was reminded about it. Look at this. This training document is called First Amendment Audits. Date of issue June 6, 2019. Updated 6/10/2019. Denver City's Attorney's Office. If one or more of the above occur, or if the individual is violating the law, the officer may charge the individual. Some of the charges may include conduct: entering a restricted area, trespass, 38-115 or the Colorado Revised Statutes, interference with the police authority, refusing to leave when asked or ordered to by a person with authority over the private property, approaching an officer conducting business and does not stop, approach, and or backed up when asked or so ordered, and that failure actually interferes with the officer completing his or her duty safely. Repeatedly calling an officer or police employee when not reporting an emergency and told to stop calling. Disturbance by use of telephone. Blocking access or movement for the officer. threatening violence or physical force, hindering or impeding public employees from performing their jobs. So, refusing to obey the rules established for a government building, such as a prohibition on recording. I just gotta let this sink in. Refusing to obey the rules established for a government building, such as a prohibition on recording. So, there you go. Let it sink in. Yeah, baby. Let it sink in. I did not intentionally focus on getting arrested. Normally, we accept the threats under threat of arrest, and we will back down. But when you have an officer threatening to go hands-on, and in circumstances, I cannot imagine a better case, right? Let's just focus on that for a second. Refusing to obey the rules established for a government building, a prohibition on recording. I would love for all of you to one time call information for the city and county of Denver and ask about recording in the police administration building. I'm looking for the phone number right now so that we can phone number. Give you the phone number. No, I'm not. I don't have any of that with me this morning. Pocket Gov. Ah, there it is. 720-913-1311. It's 8:30 a.m. in the city of Denver. You should be able to call that number right there and find out why it's illegal to videotape in the police department. There might be some other numbers we could call. The Denver City Attorney's Office, Beth McCann, would be another great person to ask. And let's just face it. I'm not done with this thing yet, okay? What is protected speech? Because we want you to know. Criticisms of the officer, the department, the city, or the employee. Curse words not included with true threat. Name calling. So if you call a police officer a fat fucker while flipping them off in a raised voice, it's legal. It's protected free speech. This is a city and county of Denver government. Michigan Woodsman, I'm about to find out. It might take me 7 to 10 years, but I definitely am going to be finding that out. Is it illegal under the rules of the building? So what's not protected? Free speech. I'll kill you if you touch me. And the officer reasonably believes that they will be harmed. Challenges to fight, and the officer reasonably believes the individual intends to fight. Hey, Randy, thanks. Take it easy. Now, we know Eric Brandt did not put up his fist at all in any way, shape, or form, threaten to fight anybody yesterday. So he was not, and he never does those things, and that's why challenges or fighting or threatening a police officer is not an option for them to do that, right? But let's focus on something here. Tips and practical guidance. When you find yourself as a police officer or a city and county employee in this type of situation, notify a supervisor when reasonably possible. Turn on your body-worn camera. Give the individual an opportunity to comply. Do not engage. Do not take the bait. That is what they want you to do. If the individual is interfering with your ability to do your job, clearly instruct them to back away with a reasonable distance and tell them that they are interfering with your job. Be aware of any sensitive information on workspaces, including computers and MDTs. All right? Folks, it's all here. They need training on it. They were given training on it. Do you want to know if Eric Brandt is making a difference in the city and county of Denver? If the rest of us fucks are actually doing something? Here's tips and practical guidance. Here's training on what's protected. Thank you, Pamela. Pernilla Nelson, thank you. I need glasses. That's right. Don't forget, my name is Brian Loma. And many of those city representatives that you're going to be calling know who I am. They know that officer, my name, Mom, give me a second on that, that I, Brian Loma, helped to run a mayoral campaign advocating on behalf of citizens, that we advocated on ballot initiatives, and that we reached out on behalf of city council representatives. Thank you, Preachy Ryder. Documentation. Look at this. When writing your report of the incident, be very specific and detailed when describing the conduct, the instructions you gave, how many times you gave the instruction, how the person failed to obey the instruction, space descriptions, other individuals in the area, focus on the physical conduct. The words used can be referenced in your report for necessary added content. However, they should not be used alone as the reason for the charge unless the words are a threat of violence. I want you to notice something in that video when you watch it again that we started half an hour ago. I didn't say anything. As soon as I noticed there was an issue with Eric, I was silent. I grabbed the camera and I was silent. I didn't say a thing. All I stood there and videotaped the police. Right? Sir, your yelling is so close or so loud that I can not continue to talk to this citizen and respond to this call. Please stop or move over to that lamppost so I can continue my work. Look at how great the examples are of clear and effective communication between a police officer and a citizen. Here's clear instructions. You may continue to record or videotape, but I need you to move away from this area so that I can continue to address the situation without interference. If you stand near that stop sign or in the area of the stop sign, that would be fine. The exact distance will depend on the specific situation and location. Each officer should determine the minimum amount of space they need to feel safe and complete their duties. Please stop following right behind me. I need you to back up at least 10 feet to give me personal space. You are making me feel threatened and interfering with my duties. These are clear instructions. clear communication from a level-headed person that is assessing a situation and communicating in a clear and calm manner. Right? They did miss the one. But here's the idea. And I gotta get you guys to remember this. Bad cops, bad employees, hotheads, people who are not level-headed. I do not believe that all police are bad. And I'm going to tell you why. My brother-in-law is a police officer. And Joe, my brother-in-law, the sergeant, makes sure that the police lobby is open so that the homeless have a safe place to reside and get out of the elements at night. And if you don't believe that that's good cop behavior, then we need to sit down and have a serious discussion, because that's what I want my police officers to do. I want police officers to recognize the constitutional protected activities, and I'm okay with the fact that some crazy person with white supremacist backgrounds is shot dead within 30 seconds of opening fire in a community setting. Okay? Let's be clear about that. Good cops have to exist in our society, or it will be entirely lawless. Right? Good humans have to exist in our society as well. Preachy Rider, that is the primary headquarters, police headquarters, downtown Denver. You are welcome to continue to protest, but you need to move to the other side of the lobby, street, parking lot, room, so people can continue to do business with as you are blocking their entrance. Here's the point. If you're going to block the entrance of a building in protest, they are to instruct you to move before they arrest you for blocking the space. I don't know how many of you have participated in trainings and educational practices. Yes, Extra Good Citizen Eric is out. But I have participated in a lot of these things for the environment, for police brutality, for immigration. There's probably a training in your community before the end of the month. And so if you're in a planned protest setting, say you're protesting immigration and you're going to go to your state capitol and you're going to do a sit-in to protest at the capitol, then the police officers are required to say, hey, listen, thanks, you made your point. You did your free speech activity. You now have a choice. Be arrested or leave, move. Change your activity in this way so that it remains protected activity, and everybody else gets to do their protected activity too. If you don't want to do that, we'll arrest you. Okay? So doing sing-ins, doing die-ins, doing all of these are generally negotiated between police and the activists. So there's a person that's designated. It's organized activity. So when they say, they're teaching police officers in this training about First Amendment activities and what's protected and what's free speech, this is why you have to have clear instructions, because these activities are important. We have to have them. We have to have that right. And then everybody has the right to do their continued work, right? So if you watch Joe Cool walk up to a police officer who's in an investigative manner, and the cop's just sitting in his car chilling because his partner got out or is doing the conversation, then he's not interfering because that cop's having a conversation. But if the cop were to say, pardon me, sir, you're too close to my vehicle, I need to get out of my car or my unit so that I can do an investigation, and Joe steps back 10 feet or 5 feet, he'd move. That's exactly right. That is how we interact in the protected free speech and appropriatenesses. When it's legal, okay? But you have to start at the legal aspects of it. when you're entering a building and a police officer walks up and takes your personal private property out of a security checkpoint for weapons, they're not conducting an investigation or a Tory stop. All right. And that's not protected activity by the police officer. Right. So this is now an important separation of videotaping the police and protected free speech activities. So that's a very big deal. Terry stop. That's right. Citizen Drank. So I'm going to continue with this bulletin because I want to get through it, and I've got more of my day to do. And this training bulletin is not meant to be all-inclusive or cover every situation that may arise when a person is exercising his or her rights to free speech and expression. Officers should use discretion, their own discretion, as these situations arise. If you have questions or need advice regarding this material, please contact one of the following individuals before taking action. Who's Marley Bordowski? Who gave me an area restriction because I was conducting free speech activities, and she has immunity, apparently. I'm going to get these events. These right here are now becoming property of ours. DPD Training Bulletin, First Amendment Considerations, DPD OMS 107.04, Search and Seizure of Electronic Recording Devices. Okay. So this is the document, folks. This is the training bulletin that we've been covering for the last half hour or so. And this is going to be taken to the box in every... you know what? We got a core request for this, so I don't have a link for it yet. But let's get a video link up there. This is the no recording in public safety lobbies. And Stephen, I agree with you. You shouldn't have to be that smart. Preachy, everybody that's on here, I thank you so much for hanging with me. But I want you to understand that this is brand new. June 28, 2019. Right? This was sent out. So they started with I want to see what the redacted sections say. You know how that's going to happen? In my jury trial. It's coming out in discovery. I guarantee you that Barbara A. Archer, DPD SP 1002 Deputy Chief, this email is coming public. Thank you for smashing the like button. Thank you for sharing this. Thank you for engaging in the conversation. By the way, folks, for those of you who are enjoying this and liking it, I want to make sure that we are we're sharing it. And here's why. YouTube has updated their policy that a video has to be watched 1,000 times before demonetization, remonetization occurs in review of it. So, ladies and gentlemen, consider this. Consider this for me, please. Is the public safety protected when body cameras are put on officers? I think so. I think it enhances the behavior of the police officers. But I think that the rules and regulations behind those body cameras are also necessary. It was just very recently at a hearings motion for Eric Brandt, we learned that after videotaping an interaction with Eric, the police officers shut off their body camera to do witness interviews. So if the police are selective on who and when they videotape, and they have that selection and options, then the videotapes that we produce. Listen, D. Peterson 74, it happened in a hearing. I'm guaranteeing you that the city and county of Denver, Halo cameras, the video in the building of the police department, it's not available for Cora request because it's part of an investigation. and it's going to come out of our discovery. But if you have to think about it, they have the options and the opportunities to be selective. It should be the citizens' right to not be selective, to have a full, broad protection that says that their cameras, it's not the mute button, it's whether it's recording at all. Chi-Town, Mike Z. So all of this is very important, because when you're in the interaction, when you're in an incident, from the time you arrive at that incident, your body camera should be on for the entire period. And in watching Eric yesterday, I want to let you know that every time the sergeant interacted with us, the question, is your body camera on? Oh yes, let me turn it on. Yes, it's on. Right? Those were questions we asked. Our rights as civilians to peacefully interact, to peacefully observe, to create accountability and harmony with the Constitution and with our civil responsibilities means that the freedom of the press must occur. There's an incident where a woman journalist was told to act like a lady as she was being arrested and videotaping police, arresting and her interacting with somebody else, maybe a homeless person. Karen Sidaro was arrested for heckling the mayor while he was being inaugurated in a public zone. Eric Brandt's been arrested over 20 some times for free speech violations. And there's supposed to be rules of engagement, a code of conduct, regulations laid out by the Supreme Court of the United States of America and the Constitution. We're not differentiating between assault weapons, personal protections, concealed carry, guns of any kind. The rest of it on video, yeah, go back, Paul, to the beginning of my video here and watch what's available. That's what's available at this point. The reality and the fact of this is that our truth is that we must protect the common, most basic First Amendment rights. We're not here with guns slinging. We're here with words singing, right? And there's a big difference. The Constitution of the United States of America must be protected at all costs. It is what we must stand for. And a lack of freedom, yeah. So I'm here today. I'm grateful to be free. I'm going to go meet with an attorney over this. And I thank you all for considering what free speech means to you. I think that it's very hard. It's very hard for me. I don't want to be arrested. I don't want to be jailed. And I don't know why any of us should allow this. Eric is not in jail. But it should not be a pattern of acceptability that Eric goes to jail and I get let out, or that I have a problem going to jail, right, when Eric's going to jail. I'm guilty of not wanting to be there yesterday, folks. I'm very upset about this. And I'm sure it's the shock and the trauma of the moment. But the reality is that I don't step out to violate the law. I don't step out to cause conflict. I don't step out to create discord. I want there to be harmony. I want there to be honorable activity. I want it to be a city of harmony that grows, where I have a right to say that veterans coming home from foreign wars and abused single women with kids, or fathers who are seeking safety and shelter, don't have a right to a place to live, to security in their possessions and their properties. And just to give you a quick recap before I go, because I have a day to live. This was the police administration building in the city and county of Denver. It is the headquarters for the police department, right? There's a public lobby and public chairs. The bathrooms are in a restricted area that you have to ask for access to. The police sit behind bulletproof glass and caged entrances. The primary uses of this building are for the police administration officers, for people appearing to file complaints as victims, for people who have been victimized to reclaim their property, and for concealed carry permits to be issued or renewed. All of these things. They want to tell us that we cannot. Oh, and let me not forget that the public lobby of the police department is a museum and a memorial to dead cops, to the history of the Denver Police Department. And as a memorial, it's a museum, it's a forum fauna, it's a public space. Thank you all for the love. Thank you all for your support of Eric Brandt. And I'm asking you guys to like and share each other. And to get off of YouTube and share this in other modes and modalities. And then to go do it in public. I deem you a suspect and not a victim. That's what Carolina in Fort Worth just went live with or posted. And that's the idea. We're not supposed to be suspects and victims. We're supposed to be humans, right? It's not a crime to carry a camera. It's not a crime to be in your public space, to view a memorial, to go to a museum. These are supposed to be educational, art, culture, right? I got a meeting in an hour. So, yes, it's established as rule right now. So we're going to take it to the box, ladies and gentlemen, all the way. If I have to take it to the Supreme Court of the United States of America, this is going to the box. The police officer was not at his duty station. He was not needed for the activity that was being acted out on. Eric Brandt was walking through a security checkpoint to ensure that he had no contraband devices to participate in his business. I don't even know what his business was. I was there, escort support, walking somebody in to go pick up a phone and tell a property office, I need my property back. That was my business. Eric Brandt arrived after I did. And what his business was his business. It's not my business. It's not the person at the front gate's business either. But when she called on a cop and went to the police to say Eric Brandt's in the building, no, do your job. Check to see if somebody has weapons or contraband on them. Process through the entrance of the gates. Be polite and respectful to your employees, the citizens who pay taxes to ensure you have a paycheck. And they'll be polite and respectful to you. If they're not, deal with it. You're a public employee. Right? If they're rude and disorderly, then there's a reason to interfere. But there has to be a reason to do an investigation. And walking in the door and attempting to go through security is not a reason to interfere on our rights. Yes, Eric was supposed to be in court yesterday. We were in court celebrating one dismissal, going to get another dismissal. It was supposed to be a day of celebration. And they cannot revise statutes to quash the Constitution. That is absolutely correct, Juice Man. And that's why I'll be going to the box. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I gotta go. My name is Brian Loma. You can find me on Cut the Plastic. I'm about the earth, not wasting our natural resources, our environment. And I'm about protecting free speech, right? Everybody has a right to survive in a peaceful, harmonious way. I hope peace and harmony and shelter on all of you today. Have a great day. Thanks. Thank you all.